Okay, there we go. So let's begin. So hello, everybody. My name is Shannan Mondor. I'm very, very excited for this event. I am launching my program, which is called Fulfillment in Faith. So I want to thank you, all of you, for attending. And this is life-changing. It has absolutely changed my life totally and completely. So this is being recorded. It's also live streaming on Facebook. And anybody that by chance has missed, did register through Eventbrite and missed this for whatever reason, there is replays which will be available. So with the itinerary, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through, number one, who I am, how I got from where I was, which was very much a life of addiction, to where I am now. And through the whole process, all of my learning lessons. From that, I will go into my programs that are now available to everybody out there. And yeah, and then we're just going to have by the time we are done, you definitely are going to know who Shannan Mondor is. So I'm extremely excited about this. So here we go. So as I mentioned, my name is Shannan Mondor. I created a program called Fulfillment in Faith. I am a person that was addicted to alcohol. I was addicted to alcohol for many, many years. But the sad thing was I didn't even realize that I was addicted to alcohol because the environment that I was brought up in was very much normalized. So it wasn't until my latter years, which has basically been about the last 10 years, where I really came into the light of what was going on in my life and why how would I put that? When you're put in an environment that is so normalized, you don't see it until you are brought away from that environment. And then you are subjected to other environments in general, right? And then you think, wow, like people do this different or, like this, well, that's not normal to me, but that's normal to everybody else. So that was very much the situations when it came to me. So I'm going to there's two areas I could probably start with where my journey is, but I think I'm going to go with what really triggered me. And that was at the beginning of COVID. So I was in recovery at that time. So when the journey of COVID happened, we all experienced so many different things. Everybody is different. But with me, I had already been to the point where I had been sober. And of course, where did we communicate? We all communicated through Facebook. And what I was really noticing with society and with all of my friends, and you guys all went through this too, was you really noticed people around you that you love and you really, really care about. And like even yourself, there was more drinking, there was more alcohol, there was more consuming of food. We turned to a lot of the negative things in our life, right? Because we didn't know where to turn to because we could not live that normal life. But what really affected me was the fact that I'm seeing on Facebook, because we're homeschooling our children, mothers starting to drink at noon, and they're posting, is it too early to drink, and different things like that. And that really bothered me because I could see where society was going. And I'm looking at all of these mothers that I know and that I really care about. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, don't go there, because I had already been there. I knew what it was like. And what was really sad was the fact that these mothers were normalizing alcohol for their children to be doing homework with them or teaching them online schooling and having their children pour their alcohol for them. And that really triggered me. That upset me so much. So there I am, and I'm thinking, no, if this is bothering me, it's got to be bothering so many other people out there. And then, of course, there is suicide happens. There's so much people that are going through suicide, which is just so heartbreaking. The increase in the amount of sales of alcohol. And I think the last time I kind of paid attention was it was at like 65% increase of sales of alcohol. There was domestic abuse. There was an increase in domestic abuse. Like everything was just really going horrible around us. But I could see why, people were going to the alcohol because they really wanted to numb their feelings and their emotions. And, it was so sad to see. So if it was affecting me, I knew that it was affecting others. So what I did was I thought, you know what, if I could just save one person, just one person, that's all I wanted to do, was I was going to go on Facebook and I was going to start doing these little videos, and these videos regarding, something positive, that was happening in my life or whatever it was. And so I started posting, and I posted once a week. And then what was happening was all of these people were, I was starting to gain fans, and people are liking my posts and they're like, good for you, Shannan, and thank you, I really needed to hear that today. And I had done that for a few months, and I was thinking, you know what, this is awesome, like this is making a difference in people's lives. But what I really felt within myself was I am lying to all of these people, because these people don't know my story. And I'm like, so I really felt like a hypocrite in so many ways in my life, because I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy inside. So what I started to do was I decided, okay, you know what? I need to shift things within inside me. And because there was this pulling of me, you got to start being truthful. You got to start being truthful. So what I decided to do was I actually did a live event where I went on live on Facebook, and I just spilled the beans of who I really was, where I came from, that I was a person that was in recovery for addiction to alcohol. Because so many people, I would probably say 95% of the people had no clue of the trials and tribulations that I had gone through in my past. So I knew that I really needed to spill the beans, and I needed to share with the public who I really was, who Shannan Mondor really, really was. So I ended up doing this live event, and I had talked for about, I think it was 35 minutes. And I had told them about the abuse and everything that I had gone through from my childhood, and how that led me into my teenage years, where I started drinking lots and just a lot here. Oh, I'm seeing someone in waiting room. There we go. There we go. And then it was like, oh, things are like out in the open. Things are really out in the open now. And then it was like, no, there's just something more inside of me that was pulling and pulling and pulling. And then I found that more and more people were coming forward. And then it was like, no, there's just something more inside of me that was pulling and pulling and pulling. And then I found that more and more people were coming forward. Oh, there is. We have to go on mute here. Let's see. There we go. Sorry about that, technology. So then I got this bright idea that I was going to end up writing a book. And then so I did write a book, and my book was published March 8th out to the public last year. And it is called How in the Hell Did I Get Here? Forever Changing the Genetic Blueprint. And what I wanted to explain was my entire story. So I'm going to go into a little bit of my entire story, so all of you audience out there know and understand where I am, how it got me to where I am now, and why I am so passionate about helping everybody out there. So this is where I'm going to start. So I'm a person that was addicted to alcohol, very much so. I am the youngest child of 8, and I have a half brother. So addiction in my family definitely was generational. And so the addiction actually started with my father. My father, do I believe that with my father that he, there was just so much stress within my father's life. growing up. His father died actually when he was quite young, I think 12, 13 or 14, somewhere in there. I can't remember now. So he was the oldest and had 5 siblings. And then his mother was deaf. So he was basically the caregiver then. He ended up quitting school, having to take care of my aunts and uncles, and also help my grandmother raise. And from there, times had become tough, stress, everything goes into play, right? So what had happened was he eventually turned into an alcoholic. And then he met my mother. And then they have 8 children. But as the years went by, basically what had happened was my father became very mentally ill. He started to abuse my mother very badly, and also my siblings. I was too young, so I don't remember any of this at all. But my oldest brother is the one that had taken the brunt of the abuse. Then my father passed away by suicide, and I do believe I was about 2 years old. So what had taken place there was the role of my father was now transferred over to my brother. So my brother now took on the role of being the abusive individual. So he ended up abusing all of my siblings and me, but he did not abuse my mother. But as the years went by, there was so much torment and fear that I grew up with. All of me and my brothers and sisters had. And it was just a very unsettling environment. But of course, that became very, very normal to me as an individual. So I go into a lot of detail in my book regarding what my upbringing was. Then I get into my teenage years, and in my teenage years is when I start to discover alcohol. But that was the norm in small town Saskatchewan. That was where the 14-year-olds partied with the 50-year-olds, in a small community. And so that was very much normal. Then I get into my 20s. And the continuing partying, still was still happening. But at that time, I was more of a binge drinker. And then I hit my 30s, still the same thing. And by this time, I am creating the environment. I am who I attract. So everything around me is all about alcohol, partying. I can't walk into a public place with people that I don't know unless I've had, a drink in my hand or a drink in my system. And just everything just kind of blows up from there. So it's a vicious cycle is what ends up happening. So it's scary. Once I look back at how I had grown up, it's very, very scary. And so that's what I want to get out to people is I had a rough life, but I also learned from that rough life. And like I said, I go into really in detail regarding that in my book. So what I want to get more in depth on now regarding, because you guys do know my background very much so, is the fact that there was a huge shift that really, really happened within me. Because as I'm growing up, I'm seeing all these wonderful things happen to so many people around me, right? And I'm thinking, why is it within me that these things aren't happening? Why is it that my life is so much different? And there was a really pivotal moment for me when I had lost a baby, and she was born with brittle bone disease. And it was at that moment that I really had that chance to sit back and think to myself, and I really went inside and I'm like, what is going on here? Why are all of these things happening to me? It's got to be me. There's got to be something going on. And that was a really huge pivotal moment in me because I was searching. I was really searching. And the universe always answers. Whatever you put out there, I know for a fact now that the universe always answers. So that was where I began my self journey. And that was when Dr. Wayne Dyer, I was introduced to Dr. Wayne Dyer on PBS back in the day. And for those of you that don't know who Dr. Wayne Dyer is, he is a motivational speaker, and he works with self-development and very much about the spiritual growth. And then I discovered who Louise Hay was. And then there's Marianne Williamson. And then there's Deepak Chopra. And Oprah was huge at that time. Like we're talking around 1990, no, this would have been in 2001, 2002. And that was when Oprah is really coming into the light of who she is, right? And she's bringing on all these different artists. And Dr. Wayne Dyer was on there many, many times, and Deepak Chopra. And then I started listening to them on the radio, anything that I could possibly consume to hear what these people were saying. And it was all about the self, all about law of attraction, all of that, right? And then, of course, speaking of the law of attraction book came out. And I was totally taken back. Like, you mean I'm the one that has control of everything? Are you kidding me? Like, this can't be true. Right? Then the movie comes out and I fall in love immediately with Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor is one of the main speakers on the movie, The Secret. And he, just that whole realm just totally took me by awe. I very much became a believer, and I could not get enough in any of these individuals that now had become my mentors. I've got so many books that I have read, and I really started to study in depth regarding that. Then I would say about 2 years ago was when I kind of left that by the wayside, because of course life takes over. And then I had really gone through different areas of my life because I had ended up going to treatment. I was really starting to fall apart with me being the individual that I am. And I truly believe that everything is always divine timing. And things definitely had caught up with me throughout my years, because I had become very much a chameleon. I had lost who I was as an individual. I had been playing this role that I didn't have an alcohol problem, but I knew that I did. So I hit a brick wall, and I ended up going to treatment. And I went to treatment. I was in there for about 9 weeks. And I'll tell you, that was the best thing I could have ever done. So when people are embarrassed that they have gone to treatment, I want to tell you right now that that is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Absolutely the best thing. I learned so much about the aspect of addiction in there. And that is an absolute blessing. It really gave me the time to sit and just to reflect on my whole entire life, because it was not until that actual moment that I was in treatment that I realized, like, oh my God, like, this is what my life was like. That was such a pivotal moment. And it took the counselors and everybody in that treatment center to open my eyes, because I was like, wow, that was where I had discovered how bad things really were for me. How I had basically, the amount of lack of self-worth that I had, how I did not respect myself, how much I hated myself, how much I was just doing everything to please everybody else, so that would make them like me. And it was just like, wow, like it was just unbelievable. So I was in there for the 8 weeks. Then I came out, and I was in a bubble. And then when I came out, it was like, wow, okay, this is what the real world is like there. I can no longer be hiding behind the alcohol. And then it was whoa, okay, so now I had to start to learn and figure out all these different tools again, right? Which really I never really knew how to do in the first place, because I always hid behind my alcohol for years and years. So that was when my self journey really started to happen. And that was also when I started doing my videos and stuff like that, also on Facebook. But then that was also when I had rediscovered all of these amazing mentors that I had actually forgot about. So Bob Proctor was huge, and he was reintroduced into my life again as of last summer. So what I had ended up doing last summer was I ended up taking all these different courses by Proctor Gallagher Institute. And I took my consulting, and I really became into my power of who I really, really am and who I knew that I was meant to be. Then I was introduced to this lovely, amazing lady by the name of Kathleen Cameron. Now, Kathleen, between Bob Proctor and Kathleen Cameron, they have absolutely changed my life totally and completely. They have helped me to really become the individual that I am today. And I will forever be grateful for that. It has totally changed me, who I am. They have brought me into the power, who I really am. And they have made me one. They have taught me how to become source, and one with source. And it was just a journey all in itself. And I am still on that journey, and I am going to continue to be on that journey. Because for me, life has literally just begun. It has just begun. So with my teachings that I have learned through those two very, very strong individuals, I have now been able to create my own programs. And the reason, the most wonderful thing about my programs is for the fact that I have embodied them. I have gone through these programs. And that was how I was able to create my programs, which is, it's just, everything has changed about me. And that's why I'm just so excited to launch it today and to introduce it to everybody else out there. And within these teachings, my programs, I have been brought to really understand what the law of vibration and the law of attraction really, really is. And once you look back, if any of you really, really need to understand what the law of attraction and law of vibration is, I'm going to introduce it to you today. But I think the best thing that you need to learn, to go back to, is even watch the movie The Secret or read the book The Secret. That is huge. And it is so powerful watching that. So with the law of vibration and the law of attraction, the law of vibration is the primary law. And that is the feelings that we put out there. Because whatever you put out there is what you attract. You end up attracting, right? So when you focus on what is, it is your present moment, is whether it's positive or negative. So now, how I have definitely brought all of this into my life now is because of I have created that within myself. I know that I am such a powerful person within me that I can create, and what I put out with that vibration, I know I'm going to get back tenfold. So, and all of us have gone through this. Imagine waking up in the morning, right? And you're feeling great. And how many times, all of us have experienced this, right? And as you go throughout the day, things just get better and better and better. And you see things in a whole different light, and just positive things end up coming to you. Next thing you know, you get a phone call and, oh, you know what? Someone's invited to take you out for supper, or, you know, you got that new job, or you've been accepted, you know, into university. Like, there's just all these amazing things that happen, right? But that's all because of that vibration that you put out into the world, right? That feeling good. But then there's also, the negative aspect of things, right? When you wake up in the morning on the wrong side of the bed, there's that, you know, things start to unfold. You stub your toe, you end up having a cold shower, you get in a car accident. There's just something that continues to happen, right? And it's just like, oh goodness, right? So that is the law of vibration. That is the vibration that you're putting out there. And we have control of all of that. And within these courses, I go into more depth of what that is all about, right? And because you can change everything at that split instant. And I have done that many times over and over and over. I just have to take a little sip of my coffee here. Now, with the law of vibration and law of attraction, that's where manifesting comes in. And I am a huge manifester myself. I have manifested so many things within my life. And manifesting it's spiritual. It is something spiritual that becomes real. And all of your thoughts are spiritual. You can't see them, but you can definitely hear them. Thought energy is spirituality, which is brought into physical form. So all of us have manifested something, everything in our lives. Like, you look around what you've got in your presence right here. You yourself has manifested that, but you don't even realize that you have. I love my vision boards. I do my vision boards every single year. And what I do, for those of you that don't know what a vision board is, it is, you're creating what you want for your future. So what I do every December for the following year is I will create my vision board by putting on my vision board, say if I want a new house, or if I want a new car, or if I want a purse, or whatever it is. I want a beautiful house, or I want this beautiful family, or I want a specific career, or whatever. I will put this on my vision board, and I will concentrate, and I will look at that vision board every single day. And I will visualize that in my 4D. And I will have that feeling of carrying that purse, or, being in that loving relationship, or having that bond with my children, or holding hands, with my son walking down the street. Just that alone will create that within my real world. So that is how you create manifesting. But there are steps that you need to create to get what you want in life. So I'm going to explain how manifesting works. So the first thing that you need to do when it comes to manifesting is you need to ask the universe, whether you speak out loud or whether you think it. And when you ask the universe, I call my higher power. Some people may call it God. Some people may call it the creator. Some people call it source. It's whatever you feel is your higher power that you want to speak to. I speak out loud. I speak whatever way I can if I want to create it. But I want to be very, very specific. I want to be very clear, and I want to be extremely consistent about what I want. It could be a better relationship. It could be a new home. It could be money. It could be whatever you want. But if it's money that you want, you need to be extremely specific about the money that you want. Because if you just say, I want money, well, the universe all in itself may, she wants money. Well, $1 is money. So you have to be extremely specific when it comes to the amount of money that you want. I personally, when I think about prosperity, prosperity can come in many, many forms too. So prosperity can come through happiness or whatever. So like I said, if it's money that you want, then be specific with the money that you want. And the reason, when it comes to the amount of money, I also look at more than just the money, because money is going to provide me the vacations. It's going to provide me with the time and freedom. So you also need to look at different things like that. Start thinking about the places that you want to go, what you want to do with that money. And always, always be grateful for the amount of money, even just, even if it's not the amount that you want right at that specific time, because the more that you are grateful, the more that the larger amounts of money are starting to come to you. And another thing that I always am very specific about too is, what am I going to do with this money, especially when it comes to giving to others, because the more that I give to others, the more that I'm going to also receive. So there's a constant flow of it coming in, because you have to do good with money. You just can't hoard that money, right? There's always special gifts in so many different ways. So that is a specific thing that I want to be specific about. But another thing too, that we have been brought up in a society where lots of lack and limitations. We are told that, how many times have we been told throughout our years that money doesn't grow on trees? Well, you know what? I look at that totally different now. You know what? I know that there is no lack and limitation when it comes to money, because that is all a part of our birthright. I look at money as like water. Water is there plentiful for us. We just have to allow it and let it to come into us. And once we have those limiting beliefs, that's where it stops us. So we have to be consistent when it comes to the amount of money. Like, be thankful, be grateful, see that money coming to you. Once you get that money, share with others, buy yourself a little something. It's just a constant flow coming, right? Now, the second stage when it comes to manifestation is write down what it is that you want. Visualize. You need to meditate, right? It's called repetition. The more that you repeat what you want, the more that belief and faith will be instilled in you. And the key is to always talk that you have it in the present, that it is already yours. Why do you want to do it that way? Because you want to have that feeling that you already have it. If you have that feeling, you know that it's coming. It's there. So I always put it out there. I am so happy and grateful now that I have whatever it may be. And I sit with it. I feel it, and I just feel like I have it. And that joy, that love, whatever it is, I get that feeling. And that feeling is what's going to bring it to me. And you must also continue to live and embody that throughout your day. Think about whatever it is that you want and you visualize it throughout the day. You just don't sit down for the first 5 minutes of your day or whatever and just think that, okay, I'm just going to think it. And then no, you have to embody it. You have to believe it. You have to start talking about it. And pretty soon you're going to see all these little flags coming up and being like, oh, yeah, it's coming. There's going to be all these little signs that eventually are going to happen. And those of you out there, I know that you know what I'm talking about when it comes to these little signs. It can be whatever, but your intuitive self is going to know exactly what it is. The next thing that you need to do is you really need to believe. You need to believe that whatever it is that you want is coming. So you need to let go and you need to let God take care of it. And my mentor, Kathleen Cameron, it's so funny because she does this little tidbit about Prime, for example, Amazon Prime. When you order something on Amazon Prime, you put it in your cart, right? So what you're doing when you're manifesting is you're putting your manifestation, what you want, in the cart. Now from that cart, you click and buy, and then you just let it go, right? And then same thing, you manifest it, you think about it, you put it out into the world, you're asking the universe that you want to receive it. Now I'm going to start believing it. So just as soon as I start believing it, that's me clicking my cart. And now I'm just going to let God have it come into play. And so when you're ordering something from Amazon, you're not worrying about how it's coming to you. Like, oh my God, did they pack it up? Did they put it out there? Is it on the truck yet? Is it traveling down the highway? Oh, is it in my mailbox yet? Oh, let me see. Is the Amazon guy shown up yet? No, we don't do that. But why is it that when we're manifesting stuff, we do that? once you kind of think about it, it is kind of crazy. So all you kind of do is you believe it and you let it go and you just let God take care of it. And it will come to you. And then the next process, which is the fourth process, is the absolute truth. You have to really believe that it is trust that it's coming. Like we trust that our package is going to show up from Amazon. So why is it that we cannot trust ourselves that it is coming? And that is the secret. We got to have that trust and belief in ourselves that it is absolutely coming, right? And then of course we need the patience. We need the patience. We just need to continue on with our life, believe that it's coming, and just know that it's there, that the universe is definitely doing its work. And how we can time lapse is we can stay in that positive vibration and just know that it's coming. And if you continue to stay in that positive vibration that it is coming, then it's going to come to you a lot quicker. And there's going to be so many beautiful things that are going to be happening around you. And you're going to start seeing the signs even more and more and more. And then all of a sudden, right when you totally forget about what you manifested, the doorbell is going to ring. And you open up that door and there is your package. There is your manifestation. And this is the easiest way that I could possibly explain it to you. And it's amazing, if you truly believe in yourself. And I can tell, I'm going to give you an example of a manifestation that I did. So this would have been about 13 years ago. It was so funny because at that time I was living back in Saskatchewan. I live in Alberta, Canada now, but we were in the process of thinking that maybe, just maybe, we might build ourselves a house. And so I had this blueprint in my head of what we were going to build back in Saskatchewan. I had every detail. Then we came out to Alberta. We were out here for a 40th, friends of ours 40th birthday. And we decided that we were going to get a hold of a friend of ours who was a realtor in the city that we live in now, and just see what was new when it came to cabinetry, carpentry, all this other stuff, right? And it was funny because as we're going to all these different houses and I'm kind of looking and seeing, and then the friend said to me, well, what is it that you want? So I told him exactly what I wanted in my house, because I'd actually written it all down on a piece of paper. And it was so funny. And he goes, I know the exact house that you're visualizing. And it was so funny because as we are driving down, we turned to come down the road. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? I said, I think this is the house. This is the house that I am actually visualizing. It's in my 4D. And he didn't even tell me what house it was. As we drove up, I'm like, that's the house, isn't it? And he's like, yes. And I already knew what this house looked like inside before I even stepped in the doors, because this house was the house that I had already manifested in my 4D. And as we opened up the door, it was like, oh my God. I literally couldn't believe it. My husband was like, wow. The only difference between my visualization in my 4D to what was actually 3D, what was happening in my reality, was the garage was on the right-hand side of the house, where in my visualization, it was on the left-hand side of the house. And we had never even, it was just amazing. Then when we were driving home, and we didn't plan on moving here either, just to let everybody know, we did not plan on moving here. As we were driving back to our home in Saskatchewan, my husband just looked at me and he goes, Shanny, goes, I think I might put an offer in on that house. And I was like, what? Didn't even expect it at all. But I knew at that moment that was going to be our house. It was just, that was the strongest manifestation that I think I've ever had. It was just so powerful and so unbelievable. And when it comes to manifestation, a lot of us don't realize how our imagination is so powerful. And that's where we got to tap in the most, is to our imagination. That is our gift from the universe. And that is how we can create whatever we want within this world. is through our imagination. And that is what we need to tap into. And I am going to teach you how to do that. And I'm going to get more into that when it comes talking about my programs. Now, the sixth part of manifestation is you need to remain to be open to receive. Most of us, because we give up, because we become so impatient, because we don't believe that it's coming to us. So what do? We end up having that doubt, which will automatically stop us or it will slow us down. But we need to be open to receive. And we need to, and with that open to receive there, that's where the persistence comes in. So do not give up on today for what will show up tomorrow. And it's usually right when you think that you're not going to get it, persist even a little bit further, because it's that tomorrow that is what's going to bring you today. And hold that vision and continue to be positive about that. And believing is so huge. It's just so huge, and having that faith. And once you get into the groove of understanding what manifestation is, it just becomes so much easier. And then from that, the belief comes in. Then from that, the faith comes in. And that's where you start to change your whole life. And then all it is just basically repeat. You just repeat the cycle of manifesting. And, you know, a lot of us don't realize that 98% of our thoughts are all about manifesting. And when you are aligned with your thoughts and you understand the vibration that you're putting out there to the world, that is where all of the manifestation comes in. And it's amazing. I understand that now. It took me a long time to understand and to get where I am, but I get it. I understand it. And a lot of people, you know, it's just trial and tribulation and just putting yourself out there. And I just kind of look at my life now, and I know for a fact, for everything that I've been through, you know, my past history, that it was the manifesting part of me, that belief in myself, that belief of me wanting to become a better individual is what got me to where I am today. I would have never, ever gotten to where I am today if I didn't go through all that I had gone through before. A lot of people say to me, you know, what is the biggest thing that made you want to shift and become the person that you are? And I would have to say that if there was one thing that I could change in somebody, is to give them that belief in themselves. And then, so I look at the addiction aspect of what I went through, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason that I went through that addiction. Do I regret any part of my addiction or, you know, the hard times that I went through? Absolutely not. I look at them as total learning lessons, because if I didn't go through those, I wouldn't have had those experiences. With those experiences, would I be able to teach anybody and be at that level that I am now? Absolutely not. So I look at all of those things in the past as gifts, real gifts, and I embrace them. And that's what I want people to know, that I went through so much fear. There was so much fear. There was so much self-doubt all throughout my years. And I really got to a point in my life where it's like, come on, like, how much more can you endure? You know, because I had gone through the suicidal moments. I've had the mental illness bouts. I've gone through all of that. And it took me and it brought me to where I am today. And it was life-changing. And that's how I know that what I went through has brought me to where I am today. So I embrace that. And that's where I want to help anybody out there to get where they want to be, because I have experience with that. I have lived and I have walked the walk. I talk the talk. I am who I am. There is nothing about me that you can't ask and I will be totally and completely open and honest with everybody, because there's no shame within me anymore. I've gone through that shame and I have surpassed that. I have embraced myself as that individual. And the best thing is I love myself. I embrace myself. I know what it's like to be, oh gosh, you know, just to the point where you just I literally was going to give up on life totally and completely. I was there. I've been there. I know exactly what it's like, you know, and now I have become, you know, this individual that I have definitely found that power within myself. I know, you know, I would have never been able to write the book. Me writing my book was the most freeing thing I could have ever done. It healed me. It healed me to get to the point to be able to talk openly about my addiction, about the loss of, you know, my daughter that I had, about, you know, being that chameleon in life, you know, just, you are who you attract. And I can look back now and I can be like, wow, like that's just amazing from where I was then to where I am now. And I embrace that. So any of you out there that are going through an addiction or, you know, having difficult times in your life, I want you to know that things do get better. You just need to be guided. And I was guided. But I had to ask to be guided. And that's where I'm asking you out there. If you are stuck, if you are confused, if you don't know what to do, that's where you ask the universe, where can I be guided? And I know that, and that's why I created my programs. So I have got 2 programs. The first program is called Fulfillment in Faith. And my second program is called Rise Above. And you can click on the link and it will take you right there. Now, with Fulfillment in Faith, that one is for absolutely anybody. In that program, if you want to learn how to manifest, you will learn how to manifest. There's no question about it. If you want to find that relationship, if you want a better job, if you want to better yourself, if you want to learn who you really are, that is specific for that program. Now, my Rise Above program, that one is specifically for people that have an addiction. Either they have an addiction that have been subject to addiction. So whether it's a family member or someone that you know that you have definitely been affected by, that is what Rise Above is all about. Or if you are an enabler, and that is where you know, you will learn so much about the whole addiction aspect. So with the Rise Above is where I speak openly all about my addiction. And that one I actually teach live. So Fulfillment in Faith, you will go on in the program, and it is with that one there, it is all on PDF. So you will be taught specifically about these different areas, which I will get more detail on. But that one is all PDF. You will go through your lessons, and then you will go through a worksheets. Now with Rise Above, I actually teach that one live, and I talk with you specifically. And that one is where, you know, you can ask me questions live or whatever. And I will talk about different areas of addiction, and it's yeah, it's, and I'm very free. I'm very open about talking about it, because I truly believe that addiction is something that needs to be talked openly about. That is what needs to be normalized. Absolutely, for sure. Now, both of these programs are 6-month programs. Both of the programs, they are 12 lessons each. Sorry about the dogs barking. This is just life, right? I have someone showing up to drop something in the mail, I see. So they are both 12 lesson programs, and each lesson is 2 weeks. So with the lesson, you will go through, and I would like you to do a minimum of 3 times going through the lesson, because you need to embody it. You need to understand it. And as you go through the lessons, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I missed that the first time. Or, oh, this makes total sense to me. And, you will start to really embody it. You will really start to live with the program. Then you will have a worksheet that you will work on, and you will work on that for the following week. So each program, like I said, each program is 6 months, and with 12 lessons in each program. And I go in depth on what you, oh, sorry, I'm just kind of reading my notes just to make sure that I don't lose track of it. I also teach in each of the programs about the masculine and feminine energy and what each of that means, and how they play an important part in your role. So we all carry a masculine and feminine energy. With the masculine, that's the action part of it. Then there's the feminine, which is the spiritual part of these programs. Then I also go in depth of teaching you about the subconscious and conscious mind. So you will learn to understand how you actually work as a human being. And it's with those, with your conscious mind is when I talk about the 5 senses. Then I go into more in depth when we talk about the subconscious mind. And that's where I teach you all about your higher faculties. That's where I teach you about your imagination, your will, your perception, your reasoning, your memory, and of course, then your intuition. Then I teach you all about the existing beliefs that you have inside of you and how they are really serving you or else they are hindering you. And I really go into depth about that. And I teach you about how you can actually create these new beliefs within you, so then you can manifest and create whatever you want within your life. Now, when it comes to Rise Above, like I said, that one deals specifically with addictions. And I get in depth with addictions, and I also teach you the tools that helps you to overcome your addictions and how you leave that in the past. Rise Above, to me, I've got a really soft heart when it comes to that particular one. I love both of my programs, but there's just something that is so, it's just that one, I totally embody that one completely, because I know that there are so many people out there with addictions, and they don't know what to do. A lot of people out there are afraid that if they actually admit that they have that addiction, that number one, people are going to find out about it, right? So everything is just kept so under the rug. People don't want to be called an alcoholic, or they don't want to be called a drug addict. Well, let me tell you, you don't have to call yourself that. I look at AA, I will be honest with you, as a tool that you put in your toolbox. I look at treatment as a tool that you put in your toolbox. You guys all know I have been to treatment. I embrace it. I'm glad that I went. I put that in my toolbox. AA, I'll be honest with you, I only went, I think, maybe 5 or 6 times. That was not my environment. The words I am are the most important words. They are just so powerful. I am is God, and I am God. We are all God. We are all one. So when I put out to the universe, I am an alcoholic, that does not resonate well with me at all. How I describe myself is what I am creating in this world. I want to look at myself as I am strong. I am confident. I am someone who is alcohol free. That is what I want to be putting out to the world. I do not want to be putting out to the world that I am an alcoholic, because that carries shame. That brings me back to my past. My past is in my past. I'm leaving that in my past. That is something that I am not going to bring forward with me. And I've got so many tools that I'm going to teach you, and you are going to embody, and you are going to leave that label behind, because you do not need to carry that label with you for the rest of your life. And I can tell you right now, if I would have carried that label and continued on with that label, there would have been relapses in my future, because that to me carries that heaviness. And I do not want to be a part of that. When I look at myself in the future, which I am there now, I did not see myself as an alcoholic anymore. I seen myself as a vibrant individual who had a life to embrace, that was surrounded by people that loved her, by somebody that was successful, by somebody who was going to be confident enough to get on Zoom here right now and live on Facebook. And I was going to help others, for them to no longer carry that shame, no longer carry that label, and for them to manifest the life that they want. That's who Shannan Mondor is. That is the person that I have created. So, you know, like I said, these programs are definitely life-changing. I know that they work because I myself have lived them. I've lived them. I breathe them. I walk them. I talk them. I embody. And that's what I love, right? And now with these 6-month programs too, I also am so blessed in the fact that I get to share that journey with you. You just don't go into these programs alone. With these programs, I will be there with you. So you will have access to me. I am going to be doing Q&A. I am also going to be providing you a community. The community will also be like-minded people, and this is a private community. So Rise Above will have their own Facebook community where you guys will be able to interact back and forth. I will also be a part of that community. You will have access to me. Rise Above, Fulfillment and Faith, the exact same thing. You know, you are going to have that Facebook group. You are going to be able to interact back and forth. I am going to be having live Q&As. So I am very much a part of your life for the 6 month that the program takes. The biggest thing that you need to decide now is whether or not these are going to be the programs that are interesting you. And what I love about this whole idea about my programs is the fact that I attracted you. I attracted you at this moment. I don't come uninvited. There's something within you, whether you're on the Zoom right now or whether you are on Facebook Live. There is something about my energy that brought you to listen to me right now. And I want you to ask yourself that question. Why is it that I'm here? What is it that attracts me to her? And I want you to really think about that. Is it for the fact that I very much had a life of abuse, of addiction that you are enduring right now? Are you looking at a way of how you need help? Is there questions inside of you that, you know, you need to figure out, but you don't know how to get there? There are so many things that you need to look right now within you and ask yourself, what has brought me to this point? What has brought me here right now? Isn't that amazing? Because I know I've been exactly where you are right now. And that's what brought me to the self-awareness of what I needed to do to go to my next step. I knew deep within me. And all of you that are listening right now, I know, you know, that you are thinking the exact same thing, right? What is it that brought me here? Can she help me? Can she help me? And you will know. You will know whether or not I can help you instinctively. Right. And that was no different with me when it came to Kathleen Cameron or the PGI programs. You know, I knew right then and there. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what's going to take me to that next level. I'm scared as hell, but you know what? I'm going to take that that next step. And the funny thing is that so many people don't understand when you have fear, fear is what you need to go through in order to get you to that next level. Once you get past that state of fear, then that's where your growth begins. I've been there so many times, and you know what? There's not a hell of a lot of things that really scare me anymore, and that's why I'm here able to teach you, why I was able to design these programs. Do you not think that me writing my book out there, how in the hell did I get here? That tells everything about my whole entire life, about my addiction, my abuse, everything, loss of my child, all of it, my bad relationships, that didn't scare the living hell out of me. It did. But you know what? It brought me to that higher level where I needed to get. And I'm so glad and I'm so grateful. It also brought me to come into the light for me to have my own podcast. So now I've got my own podcast, which is called Fulfillment in Faith. And also there, it gave me the strength to start talking openly about so many different areas of my life, but it's also brought me into the light of bringing individuals for me to be able to have this series now, which is called You Are Not the Only One. Because at my smallest moments in life, that just knocked me down. That was when I was told by the universe, you need to slow down, you need to go within, you need to figure things out, and I'm here to help you, but only if you listen. And it's those moments that I have brought forth to share with everybody. That's what's gotten me to teach everybody out there. And I am so thankful with these guests that I bring onto my podcast that they are sharing all of their times of stillness and their loneliness, because they are helping thousands of people out there with their stories. So it's just a continuation. It's just a snowball effect, right? I am teaching all of you what I learned at my stillness. And it's through these programs that you are going to learn, and you are going to become the individual that you are meant to be. You are going to have everything in your life that you want and you desire, because I'm going to teach you. And I am so blessed to have this opportunity. But this is where you need to start making that decision. Now, with these programs, each program, dry mouth. Now, with these programs, there's a link that you can go to in the chat here, and even on Facebook, there will be a link attached to it. It'll take you directly to the website. Now, my programs each are $8,000 US dollars. And a lot of you right now are thinking, oh my God, are you kidding me? 8,000. Well, I'm going to tell you right now that $8,000 is not a lot when it's going to change your life. And the reason I can say that is because I have personally spent thousands of dollars on myself to get me to where I am. My first journey, when I decided that I was going to start getting into really discovering who I am and self-awareness, my first program was $6,000 US that I paid. And I know I was scared. I was like, oh my God, where am I going to get this money from? And I really contemplated whether or not I should be doing this, but there was that knot in me that was like, you got to do it. You got to do it. This is going to take me to the next level. So I ended up putting that on my credit card, and spending the money, and you know what, the money ended up flowing and I could pay my credit card off, no problem. I have paid $30,000 for a program. I have paid, then I ended up paying another $7,000 for a program, another program. Then I paid $15,000 for a program. And I'll tell you, now I look back at all those programs that I have spent the money on, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing that I would want to spend any other money on. Because you know what? I value myself. I value the fact that I care about myself enough that I am willing to invest that money within me. A lot of people would rather invest their money in buying a car or in buying a house. But the problem with that is, yes, we all want that materialistic stuff. But the problem with that is limiting you. You need to become a better individual, who you are, and how you're going to learn that is investing in yourself. Once you start investing in yourself, You're going to have self-awareness. You're going to start to have that belief in yourself. You're going to start having that trust in yourself. You're going to be able to manifest all these different things in your life that you want, which also includes money. And then from there, you are going to have that want and desire, and it's all going to be there. And the money will constantly come to you. It's going to always come to you. And I'm going to teach you the flow of spirit. And you know, like, I am so thankful that I have had the opportunity to have all of these mentors come to me. And there's nothing, there's absolutely nothing that I would invest more in now. Got an individual here. Put you on mute. So, like I said, if this is something that is really sparking your interest, you want to talk more in depth on the programs, you know, if there's any questions, and I mean absolutely any questions whatsoever that you want to ask me, if you want to be more in my energy, you know, all the links are in the Facebook group. Or sorry, not in the Facebook group. Well, I will put it on Facebook too. You can book an appointment with me and we can be talking one-on-one. So I'm going to recap what the programs will be. So there's Fulfillment in Faith and there's Rise Above. Both are 6-month programs. Both you will get lessons. Both you will have worksheets to do. Both you will have access to me. Both you will have your own private community, which is going to grow and grow and grow. Which will also be on a Facebook private, plus also in Messenger. And yeah, like you are going to learn so much about yourself. You are going to learn who you are. You're going to learn how to get it. And you're going to become that individual that you want to be. And all I can say is I know that my programs work because I live and breathe them. I created these programs. And there's no way that I would have ever become that individual that I am now if I didn't follow these steps. And I am so blessed. I am beyond blessed, you know, that I am where I am now and that I've given that gift to share all that I've gone through with all of you. So if any of you have any questions, like I said, you can definitely book a one-on-one call with me, and we can go more into depth on conversation of what program would suit you specifically. So I want to thank you for your time. And as I always say at the end of my podcast, Fulfillment in Faith, I want to thank all of you for being a part of my journey, because without you, I wouldn't be where I am. And I love you all, and blessings to all of you. So thank you.